My name is Quinn. I am currently the Director of DevOps for a medium-sized MSSP. My goal is to put out these videos roughly once a month or more often if I can find the time. And the goal is to put out these videos relating to DevOps topics, mostly involving AI. However, I will dive into some other topics as well, such as Kubernetes, Azure DevOps pipelines, CI and CD, and many other standard DevOps topics. In this video, my goal is to address a potentially common question among many DevOps professionals. If you have been watching some of the AI related videos on YouTube or on the news, you might be somewhat concerned about the status of your job in the long run, right? Naturally. So a lot of the talk is more towards software developers, which I also hope to discuss in a future video. However, this one is related to DevOps specifically. So when you consider DevOps, it's such a complex role that touches so many elements of the business that it would be very difficult to entirely replace with AI. It's one thing to tell AI to generate a chunk of code that does something, but it's another thing to understand how the different parts work together within a business. So for example, you have a cloud environment, you have databases, you have automation, CI and CD. You have to know how to put those pieces together as a DevOps engineer. So for example, if I come in here to Copilot, right? If I bring up this prompt that I have, don't worry about these prompts, I will include them in the video description and also in a GitHub repo for you to reference if you wish. So I bring this up, right? I ask Copilot, very simple prompt, what is Azure DevOps and how can I use it effectively as a DevOps engineer? You can see it gives you a very solid summary. If you put this prompt into Gemini or other AI platforms such as ChatGPT, you will most likely get similar responses. However, these high-level responses for just general topics such as Azure DevOps, how can I use it, right? It's not enough to allow you to do your job as a DevOps engineer. This is where you get into the discussions that you'll see in some videos where they emphasize that these AI tools provide efficiency gains for DevOps engineers that already understand how all the pieces fit together. But this is not going to, for example, take someone who is an entry-level technician just out of college. They don't understand how the business works. It's not going to bring them up to that level of being a DevOps engineer. So if I expand on this type of prompt a little bit and I add some understanding from a DevOps perspective, by the way, this is a somewhat realistic situation that you may encounter. It does lay out some fairly reasonable steps here, but not all of these commandlets are going to be the best way to do it. And also you may not understand what this is actually doing under the hood. So yeah, you say, okay, stakeholders, this is what we should do. But then when you go to actually do it, you have to be able to troubleshoot this commandlet and whatever code you're writing to actually support this migration effort for the company. Then with this in mind, there are many useful features within these AI platforms for a DevOps engineer. For example, if you know what you need to do, one great opportunity, right, is to have the AI write something for you that you already scaffold out. So, okay, I need a pipeline, and at the end of the day, this pipeline is going to write to a SQL database in Azure. So if I keep this high level, I ask, okay, how can I do this? It tells me prerequisites, create the pipeline, and it actually gives me the YAML. So we have all of this templated and scaffolded to a certain extent. It says, hey, you need this database name, username, password, standard things, right? What I can then do is say, okay, great. Come back in here and say, I have this API call that I'm doing, it's returning data in this format. Map these data points in the PowerShell variable or whatever you have, and then write that to the SQL for me, and it'll actually generate a lot of that code for you. So essentially what I'm getting at is these AI tools are very effective for a DevOps engineer that already knows how all the technologies work together, how the cloud works with the network and with the code that you're running for automation, with the pipelines and the software that you're deploying through CI and CD. However, there is a huge leap from an entry-level technician to a DevOps engineer that AI cannot easily fill at this point. So yeah, that's my first video here. I hope that's useful insight from someone that has been working with AI on the daily as a DevOps engineer, and also someone that does understand the various pieces that come into play in the daily work of someone in DevOps. Thanks.